Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is about to begin. Please take your seats.
Good morning. My name is Technical Sergeant Joshua Thomas, and I will be joined by my co-MC, Technical Sergeant Jenna Burley. We are delighted to have you join us this morning. The Green Mountain Boys are the first in the Air National Guard to fly the F-35s. Today, we celebrate this accomplishment and the airmen of the 158th Fighter Wing. Assembled at the rear of the hangar is the Hannaford Volunteer Fife and Drum Corps, named after Captain Nathaniel Hannaford, a drummer who fought during the War of 1812. Since the Revolutionary War, Vermonters have answered the nation's call. The dedicated and professional airmen of the 158th Fighter Wing always stand ready. Without further ado, it is my distinct honor to present the men and women of the Green Mountain Boys. In addition to those entering, no more than 1,000 feet away are the remainder of our finest watching live.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay standing for the arrival of the official party. Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the 158th Fighter Wing Honor Guard and the Hannaford Fife and Drum Corps, as well as the singing of the national anthem by the Mount Abraham Union High School a cappella choir, Sweet Transition.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brigadier General Greg Knight, the Adjutant General of the Vermont National Guard.
Good morning. Now, surely, with a day as auspicious as this, we could do a little better. Good morning. There we go. So I was talking with Colonel Smith a little while ago. I was just wondering, can you bring up the snow barn? I was just wondering, you're not that far away. If you all made enough noise, could we actually hear you? How we doing? No, it was worth a try. We tried. Welcome, everybody. What a tremendous day for us. Today, my comments will be succinct. It's a tremendous day for our Guard and for Guard Nation, and I'm certainly proud to be a part of it. Of all the people we recognize today, our leaders, our supporters, our community stakeholders, by far the most significant attendees today are our airmen. Your work ethic, your pride in service, your consistent excellence, and dedication to our nation made today possible. You make the aircraft fly, so thank you. At this time, it's my privilege to recognize the members of our official party, the Honorable Phil Scott, Governor of the state of Vermont, the Honorable Patrick Leahy, United States Senator from Vermont, Mr. Greg Ulmer, Vice President and General Manager of the F-35 program for Lockheed Martin Aeronautics, General Joseph Langell, Chief, National Guard Bureau, Lieutenant General Scott Rice, Director of the Air National Guard, and Colonel David Smith, Commander of the 158th Fighter Wing, Vermont Air National Guard. I'd also like to recognize a number of our honored guests in attendance today. If you would, please hold your applause until I work through the list here. Former Governor of Vermont, the Honorable Jim Douglas, U.S. Ambassador of the International Civil Aviation Organization, the Honorable Thomas Carter, Vice President, Customer Requirements, Lockheed Martin Aeronautics, General Retired Gary North, Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chief of the National Guard Bureau, Command Sergeant Major Chris Kepner, Lieutenant General Retired Michael Doobie, former Deputy Commander, U.S. Northcom, and former Vermont Adjutant General. Lieutenant General Retired Harry Bud Wyatt, former Director of the Air National Guard. Major General Michael Degnan, National Guard Assistant to the Commander, Air Combat Command. Major General Retired Donald J. Shepard, former Director of the Air National Guard. Air National Guard Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Ronald Anderson. Director of the F-35 Integration Office, Brigadier General David Abba. And representing the F-35 Lightning II Joint Program Office, Brigadier General Donald Cothern, Assistant Program Director for Development. I'd also like to introduce our Vermont National Guard senior leadership as Assistant Adjutant General of Vermont, Ken Gregg, Brigadier General Craig Campbell, Brigadier General Stephen Lambrecht, Brigadier General David Manfredi, Brigadier General Richard LaBelle, State Command Sergeant Major Nathan Chipman, State Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Brian Marchessault. Wing Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Darren Mousy. And unfortunately, not in attendance today is Chief Warrant Officer 5, Jim Woodworth. He's our Command Chief Warrant Officer. And please also join me in recognizing all of our other general officers and senior enlisted leaders in attendance. I'm also honored to recognize our many members from our State House and Senate in attendance, our distinguished civic leaders and community partners who continue to offer their ongoing support of the Vermont Air National Guard. We're deeply indebted to you for your faith in the work our airmen do here, and are honored to work alongside you to continue to carry out the mission of the Vermont Air National Guard. To our many retired members of the Vermont National Guard in attendance, thank you for all you've done. And finally, to our airmen, again, we're here because of you and your accomplishments. Thank you for what you do and continue to do through your service to the Guard, for Vermont, and this great nation. Thank you. Distinguished guests, please join me in welcoming the Honorable Philip B. Scott to the podium.
Well, good afternoon. What a beautiful day in Vermont for so many different reasons. I want to thank General Knight, Lieutenant General Rice, Colonel Smith, and their teams for the opportunity to be here to celebrate the official arrival of the F-35s to Vermont. I also want to thank National Guard Bureau Chief General Langell, as well as Lockheed Martin Aeronautics Vice President Greg Ulmer. And last, but certainly not least, thank you, Senator Leahy, for your steadfast support of the F-35s from the very beginning and through the entire process. Your commitment to our state and our nation is much appreciated. So thank you very much. When I think about the Vermont National Guard, immediately I feel a sense of pride. Whether it's the 86th Brigade or the Green Mountain Boys, the common denominator is the quality of the people and the sense of service to country before self. This in itself makes the Guard one of Vermont's most valuable assets. And there's more, because today we're here to highlight the Air National Guard, who have been essential in strengthening our position in the aerospace economy and helping us in our work to attract suppliers and manufacturers. For decades, the Air Guard has served Vermont and our nation with distinction. And it's because of this leadership that Vermont is the first National Guard unit to receive this next generation technology. For me, I think about my friend, Brian Doobie, who's here today, telling about his day on September 11th, 2001, when our F-16s flew over Ground Zero and stood ready to engage and defend against any and all who sought to do further harm. An image that best defines just how important this organization is to the defense of our nation, our values, and our way of life. It's also not lost on me the tremendous sacrifices of the men and women of our Guard. You who step forward to serve our country are among the best we have. You often put your lives on hold, get sent thousands of miles away in order for us, here at home, to be able to enjoy the privilege of living in the greatest country on earth. Members of our Guard travel to far corners of the globe, away from their families and friends, missing dinners, sports games, recitals, birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays. You put your lives on hold and on the line for the greater good, and your families are sacrificing as well. But you do so for our nation and for us. So for that, we are forever grateful. And we're also grateful to have you here in Vermont. The arrival of these aircraft marks the beginning of an important new chapter. The Air Guard and the F-35 are an essential part of enhancing the vibrancy and vitality of the region and the state. And I'm proud that Vermont will continue to play such a significant role in the defense of our nation and our community. To the members of the 158th Fighter Wing, it's your excellence, your track record, and your exemplary service that made Vermont a candidate for this mission. So job well done. I know I speak for all Vermonters when I say thank you for all your efforts on our behalf. Again, it's my honor to be here today to mark this important occasion and new mission for Vermont. Thank you so much for having me.
Please welcome our next speaker, the Honorable Patrick Leahy, United States Senator from Vermont.
Not a bad day. Yeah, it's when Marcel and I left our home in Vermont in Middlesex, and this is what we said as we drove over. But I think it's a privilege to be here today. General Engel, thank you for coming to Vermont. Governor Scott, thank you very much for what you had to say. I'm so proud to have you here as our Governor and Commander-in-Chief. Brigadier General Knight, thank you. We keep in touch all the time, and I appreciate that. And all the other distinguished leaders who are here. But I hope all of you will let me say that I especially want to say hello to the men and women, my fellow Vermonters, who are going to be operating the most advanced aircraft ever designed. I'm as proud to stand among you today as I was that day in December when the Air Force first announced that Vermont Air National Guard has been selected as the first National Guard unit in the country to fly the F-35A. Now, that applause is for all of you, and you deserve it. I've advocated fiercely in Washington for a national defense strategy that works in both diplomacy and development abroad, but also the ability to defend our home against any threat we may face. I think most Vermonters agree, as I do, that as a nation, we need an air defense. We need an Air Force. We need technology that keeps us ahead of the rest of the world. Now, technology has changed dramatically since the F-16 was designed. I still thank then Colonel Mike Doobie, who took me for a ride. I survived, and one of the few two-seaters of the F-16s. You don't have a two-seater of this, darn it. But I think of the F-35 as the next era of air defense. It's the aircraft of the future, but as a Vermonter, I am proud that my fellow Vermonters are leading the way. I supported this basing because I believe in you. I believe that you are the best. And I believe as part of our community, you bring our Vermont values to the Air Force. You're hardworking, you're creative, you're dedicated to serving others. You always strive to improve, but you also have abilities that shine throughout the country. Among you serve some of the best in the country, with incredible records as those who do the maintaining of our aircraft, the ability to make impossible deployments happen. Remember how fast you deployed over New York City after 9/11. And you have award-winning top pilots among you. We Vermonters, even before our state was accepted into the Union, you are doing the same. You will accept the enormous responsibility of defending our nation. As Vermont Guard has so many times before, you will fly this new aircraft with excellence. You will lead with excellence. You will reflect Vermont values. You make our state very proud. You will make the United States of America proud. I thank you.
At this time, we would like to share with you a brief video showcasing the importance of the Air National Guard to Vermont and the transformational capabilities the F-35 will deliver to our men and women in uniform.
We're a couple of weeks out from what we call peak leaf peeping season, so that's when we do see a lot of tourists come into the state of Vermont, but a lot of changes going on around the base at that time, not only with the foliage, but obviously with the new aircraft coming in.
I grew up in Vermont, up in the Northeast Kingdom, which we call it around here, and I had, in college, I got the bug to serve. So 31 years ago this month, actually in a couple days.
The Guard is very family oriented. We are around each other for better or worse with our squadron mate. So I'm flying back with the squadron commander, which is Lieutenant Colonel Scrappy Merrick. I know his family well. He knows mine. We're great friends that go way back, and I think that's really just a testament to the Air National Guard and what a tight-knit family we really are. I love flying the F-35. It is a great aircraft. It's just an exponential leap in technology.
Internally, what matters is the displays and the avionics compared to the F-16 is it's like going from just learning to walk to being in space. I mean, the advancement in technology is phenomenal.
Big difference, I would say, is how smart the F-35 really is. It flies, it comes down, and it tells you pretty much what is wrong with it when it shuts down. It'll tell you pretty much whatever you need to fix on it.
The jet's like a big sponge. It absorbs everything it sees and hears and displays it to you in a very user-friendly format to understand everything that's going on around you, unlike anything I've ever seen before.
It's a tactical game changer to have all that available to you in such a pilot-friendly environment. You really are, with your signature management, with those stealth characteristics, they have no awareness that you're there in many cases.
I've been on the receiving end of this in the F-16 trying to find the F-35s, and you just can't. And now that I'm on the F-35 side of things, it's a lot more fun.
You definitely feel like we've tied one hand behind the enemy's back and they're trying to fight us in an unfair fight, and that's obviously, as a fighter pilot, where you want that fight to be as unfair as it can get.
We are here today to celebrate the first two F-35s landing in Vermont. There's been, over the decades, just a lot of pieces have fallen into place to be able to put us in position, the Air National Guard, to be ready for this right now.
The flight line is the center of gravity. That's where we all come together. We all come as one team to make this jet ready for each flight.
Vermonters should be really proud about this team here. Vermonters are hard workers and really dedicated, and we've shown that. That's the reason the F-35s are here. And it will provide defense for this country that the F-16 couldn't do. And it really allows us to be on the front edge of technology and flying. Being fielded in the Air National Guard concurrently and proportionally with the Air Force, and as a total force, with the Guard right there as full partners in this new mission, that's huge for the Guard. It secures our future. when you look out to the next 4 to 5 decades, the F-35 secures our ability to execute our federal mission and our state mission. That's really important to this country and really important to Vermonters.
Please join me in welcoming to the stage Mr. Greg Ulmer, Vice President and General Manager, F-35 Program, Lockheed Martin Aeronautics.
What a beautiful day. If you can't feel the electricity, you're not breathing. Colonel Smith, you've got some new iron. We've got some more iron coming. So just thinking, fast forward another 9 months or so, there'll be 20 F-35s here. And we're very, very proud to be a part of this. Good morning, and thank you all for the invitation to speak at this incredible milestone for the Vermont Air National Guard. And thank you to our military, our government, our community, and industry officials who are here with us today celebrating this important milestone. To Senator Leahy, Governor Scott, General Lingle, Lieutenant General Rice, Brigadier General Knight, and Colonel Smith, it's my pleasure and honor to be with you here today, celebrating this historic occasion, thanking you for all you do in support of not only the F-35, but in support of the National Guard, and of course, in support of our nation. The history of the Green Mountain Boys spans 3 centuries of dedication and selfless service. From your humble beginnings at the Revolutionary War to F-16s, as you've heard this morning, patrolling our skies on 9/11. The Green Mountain Boys have a legacy of keeping our nation safe. Today is truly a change of the Guard, and I am proud that the Green Mountain Boys spent the last 33 years safeguarding our skies in the F-16, and I'm even more proud as your new era begins today with the F-35. We are honored to provide the Vermont Air National Guard with an exceptional leap in technology. The F-35 is the most advanced fighter ever built, providing our men and women in uniform with the capabilities to accomplish any mission, but more importantly, it ensures that you come home after each and every mission, no matter the threat. You deserve the most advanced technology, and now with the F-35, you have that advantage. Today, I congratulate you on your new chapter. Your years of hard work have prepared you and your team to receive the fighter of the future. This is a monumental accomplishment that you achieved through your commitment, hard work, and excellence. Your efforts paved the way for the Air National Guard, which has plans for more than 300 F-35s in the future across more than 15 Air National Guard bases. And lastly, I would like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to all the men and women in uniform who are here today, that will be here tomorrow, and who selflessly serve our nation. We are so deeply grateful for your service, and we are so proud to support your nation. Congratulations on this compliment. I very much look forward to seeing you in our skies. Thank you.
It is now my honor to welcome General Joseph Lingle, Chief of the National Guard Bureau.
Well, good day, everyone. It is indeed an honor for me to be here. Governor Scott, Senator Mrs. Leahy, General Mrs. Knight, Colonel Smith, to Command Chiefs, Command Sergeant Majors, honored guests, ambassadors, friends, the Green Mountain Boys, men and women of the Vermont National Guard. Hello in the snow barn, wherever you are, whatever direction that is. I could not be more proud to be here, and frankly, it's all been said. It just hasn't been said by me. So if you will allow me for just 1 second to say that You know, Senator Leahy, this is such an important day, and I know it's a long time coming. It's you know, the part you played and all the elected leaders and all of this unit played in this day, it really is, it is remarkable. You know, I owe, and the National Guard owes Senator Leahy great gratitude for elevating the position of the Chief of the National Guard Bureau to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And with that, it is my hope that we can continue to grow, maybe more than 300, Mr. Ulmer and the F-35 realm. But it is indeed a great honor to be here, and this state has contributed long and often punches well above its weight in terms of its contribution to the national defense, and it has since the beginning of our nation history. And it's only proper and appropriate that the Vermont National Guard and the 158th Fighter Wing be the first recipient of the F-35 in the National Guard. I do want to start off and recommend that the long history and track record of this organization, and as an F-16 pilot, I must think back to the 30 years of the F-16 and the role that it played in our national defense, and the role that this organization played in using it to support not just in 9/11, but even more recently on its rather no-notice deployment to the Middle East in 2017, when people thought the Guard needed long lead time and long notice time, that in a matter of weeks from notification, this organization had packed up and flown to the Middle East and helped defend our nation against counter-terrorists and ISIS. And it was an amazing thing that said a lot about the Guard and a lot about this unit. And, you know, as this airplane and in the F-16, as much as I love it, you know, the Air Force does three main things. And if you're the United States Air Force, you are responsible to surveil the planet. Know what's there, know the threats, know everything about the environment in which we might fight. And the second thing it does is the United States Air Force allows the United States of America to project power, to range the planet, to take our capabilities and to go when and where our nation needs it to go. And the third thing it does is it provides option to the national authorities and the leaders of the United States to hold any point on this planet at risk of attack. Should some enemy need to be attacked by our nation, this platform behind me has replaced the F-16. The F-16 can no longer guarantee that for our nation. But combined with our ability to surveil the planet, combined with our ability to range the planet, and combined with the capabilities embodied in this amazing platform behind me, we can, if our nation needs us, hold any point on the planet at risk of attack. It is part of a bigger system. We think about air power in terms of the F-16 and the platform that most of us know and are familiar with. This is a different concept of war. This platform behind me is part of a greater architecture. It's part of air, land, sea, space, cyberspace, and undersea. It is part that brings together the way the United States is going to have to fight in the future as we execute the national defense strategy and protect our nation against future threats that we know it's going to face. And without the capabilities of this platform and the recognition that it is part of the United States Air Force as 21 fighter squadrons of General Goldfein's Air Force, 55 total fighter squadrons are in the National Guard. And I look forward to the day when the next Madison, Wisconsin, and when Danley Field and the follow-on 13 bases that we heard about earlier transform themselves into fifth-generation fighters to prosecute the national defense strategy. I think it's incredibly important and says a lot about this organization. As I stand here and witness to this new age, I just want to say just one thing about this organization. It took a vision to see this. It took persistence, and it took a track record of sustained, excellent performance demonstrated by the 158th Fighter Wing and by the Vermont National Guard. And I can't let it go without saying thanks to the many leaders whose shoulders we all stand on, many of them in this room, past and present, not just leaders in the Vermont Guard, but leaders throughout the Department of Defense who took part in the building this total force that our United States Air Force has today. And I couldn't be more proud of it. And as I approach the end of my career, I'm much closer to the end than I am even to the middle. I look forward to watching the future of our United States Air Force. And they also are in this room today. And the future of the Vermont National Guard. And I just want to say thank you very much for the service to our nation. Thank you very much for what you do every day to keep our nation and our homeland safe. And thank you for letting me be here today to be part of this great event. Thank you very much.
Next, please join me in welcoming Lieutenant General Scott Rice, Director of the Air National Guard.
Thank you and welcome. I'd like to thank you for something that is near and dear to me personally, as well as professionally. And I want to thank Vermont. I want to thank the 158th to being one of the best and to being on the tip of the spear of our culture of Americans. Because we all know that freedom is costly. In fact, freedom is probably not free, as some of us have learned over our time in the military. And freedom stands in our nation, in our communities, in our great state of Vermont, on the culture that we have built over time. This thing we talked about, this exemplary service that the Governor Scott had talked about, this dedication to improve that Senator Leahy talked about, this game-changing iron that sits behind me that Mr. Ullman and General Langell talked about, the capabilities that this brings to our nation is just unbelievable, over the top, and it's a new chapter in this culture of excellence that's here, clearly here present, and all the people we saw at the Snow Barn, all the people that are here in uniform, and not only that, the people here from our community, our friends, our neighbors, all of our political leadership, our industry, that all comes together to create this culture. But culture is built on a rich, deep history, and a history that makes a heritage, and a heritage that builds this culture. Just think about it. Almost 250 years ago, in 1770, when this history and this chapter was opened for the National Guard here in Vermont. As Vermont became the 14th state, you count the stars on that tail, and there's 13. But I look at that and I see 14 because I see that VT, which is the 14th state in our nation. And I thank you, Governor, for leading, and you, former Governor, for being here and a part of this. Well done for having this great state of Vermont. Well done. It's truly awesome. But I'd like to correct the record from last night. I know Smitty, Colonel Smith, talked about this deep, rich history, 10 years that the Air National Guard's been working to get this iron here, and I think he exaggerated. It's really 250 years, and if you doubt me, you think that man is a young man, Colonel Smith, just look at his picture in that emblem there. When he started this, I think we used to call you Ethan Allen. He had a vision back then, 200 plus years ago, that said, I'm going to put iron on the ramp in Vermont, and we're going to protect not only this community, this state, we're going to drive our nation to be able to reach out and touch anyone, anywhere, anytime, as General Langell said, to implement our national strategy at any moment. But you know, that history in Vermont is pretty rich. You've got names like Sedgwick, Hannaford, which we heard their drum and bugle corps. I mean, even presidents have come from here, Arthur and Chester. But names that we know and are so familiar with now that have added another deep, rich chapter to that culture that's here, names like Doobie, Wyatt, North, Ambassador Carter, Shepard, and even Steve Cray. And why do we do all this? And why do we have this such passion to build this history, make this heritage that supports this culture that is so near and dear? We do it for our future and our freedoms. We do it for our families. My wife is here, Nancy, because she's a part of this culture. And the two of us love it because we know that with this culture, with this capability, with this service, with this dedication to improve, we're going to present a future for our kids and our two granddaughters, which are Natalie and Juliet, because they're ready to get in that and fly, fight, and win for the U.S. Air Force. Thank you very much.
We would now like to share with you a video highlighting the rich heritage of Vermont, the Air National Guard, and the Green Mountain Boys as they enter their next chapter with the F-35.
We observe today a celebration of freedom, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning. Let the word go forth that the torch has been from passed this time and place to a new generation of Americans born in this century. Proud of our ancient heritage, let us go forth to lead the land we love, at home and around the world.
Welcome to Vermont, the state of freedom and unity. Charted by the French explorer Samuel de Champlain, Vermont became known as the Green Mountain State. In the mid-1700s, this humble state formed their first militia, the Green Mountain Boys. Spearheaded by Ethan Allen, the famed Green Mountain Boys have blazed trails of action, innovation, and independent thought stretching back more than 250 years. Who would have imagined that this small-town militia would someday be pioneers in the Air National Guard with the most advanced and capable weapon system in the Air Force? Just a small New England state surrounded by maple trees, cornfields, rolling farmland, mountains, and weather as tough and gritty as its people. This is our beautiful state of many seasons and courageous characters. The people here believe in something. You'll meet unprecedented work ethic and a lending hand. Welcome to the land where the job always gets done. From rising floodwaters at home to short-notice deployments, the Green Mountain Boys are always ready. This all-volunteer force serves a dual mission, supporting the communities of Vermont and building partnerships around the world. This is your Air National Guard. It is who we are. The selfless service demonstrated by our founding fathers has become deep-rooted in our members, whether they are in or out of uniform. Supported 24/7 by our families, our friends, and our community, we are able to honor this tradition and continue a legacy of greatness. As John F. Kennedy once said, "Today, our concern must be with the future, for the world is changing." This mission starts here. Our airmen are excited, and our airmen are committed to this challenge. This is it. And we are ready. And these are your Green Mountain Boys.
Where do I start? As you know, I'm Colonel David Smith, commander of this amazing wing. The very first, and certainly the finest F-35 wing in the Air National Guard. You know, before I get started, I just was thinking as I watched that video, one of the neatest things about the Air Guard is our family. And our family is this entire room. I mean, it's our airmen, our communities, and retirees, but I hope you felt that video was pretty powerful. We have an amazing public affairs team that put that together. But when it came to doing the final narration on that, Chief Mozzie, my command chief, and I were sitting around, and a name immediately popped into our head, and it's Sarah Byers. And Sarah Byers is one of our honorary commanders. So that's the kind of stuff that the Guard, we have a community that's so involved in what we do and supports us so much that we can put together a video like that and connect the community, and I'm really proud of that. I'd also like to, before I get started, I mean, what an amazing day, what an incredible day. The base is perfect. I mean, it's so pretty this time of year, and there's been so much work that's gone on behind the scenes to put this production on. And I would just like to thank the team from Lockheed Martin, all of our airmen for the work to invite you all here so you can enjoy and share this really historic celebration with us. We are so proud of this, and we're so thankful for all of you. And I said it last night, you know, when I look at this audience here today, and the snow barn, the whole thing, it's about family. It's actually pretty easy to sit up here or stand up here and talk today because there's so much energy, there's so much support for us, and we feel it, and we thank you for it, and we're so proud to share it with you. So with that, I'd first like to just start by thanking all our speakers today. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. You know, what a tremendous honor for me to be standing here today in this ceremony. By far, the proudest moment in my 31-year career here as a Green Mountain Boy. And there's a question that I frequently get asked, and it goes something like this. How is it that such a small state like Vermont was chosen as the first F-35 unit in the Air National Guard? And I'll tell you why. You just watched it on that 3.5-minute video, and it's up there on the picture on the screen. That's why. And it's really quite simple. It's because of our people. These airmen, and you can clap for them. Their families, the communities that they represent, the 73 years of our heritage. It's the nature of what we do here. Hard work and a commitment to service, excellence, and to each other. I want to thank you for being here as we celebrate this momentous occasion and for traveling to our small state in one of our most beautiful times of year. Senator Leahy and Governor Scott, two Vermonters committed to the airmen and families of this wing. Thank you for your many years of support. General Langell, General Rice, under your leadership, we brought the F-35 to Vermont and the Air National Guard. General Knight, you're a part of our Air Guard history, and you know what our airmen can do. And Mr. Greg Ulmer and the Lockheed Martin team. The F-35, wow, what an amazing airplane. Our country needs the F-35, and your team delivered. And now you have these airmen and the airmen in the snow barn on your team. Just wait and see what they can accomplish. And there's a snow barn. All of us, you got us all. I also want to recognize other distinguished visitors and guests, and it's a long list, but just to frame who's here today, we have general officers from across our Air Force, we've got honorary commanders, we've got senior enlisted advisors, command chiefs, we have Vermont legislators here today, business leaders, community leaders, and friends and family. And finally, I'd like to welcome the airmen of the Green Mountain Boys, past and present. And frankly, it's because of you that we're celebrating here today. Over a decade ago, we embarked on a journey to bring the F-35 to Vermont. And what's so special about today is that we've done this together, and we celebrate here today together. We've shared a common goal to bring the F-35 to this wing, and that goal has been achieved. Our F-35s are here. These airmen are training on them, and we're flying them. And we've opened the next chapter of our history. Being the first F-35 wing in the Air National Guard is significant in so many ways. The F-35, this new mission, secures our future for decades. It secures our ability to defend this nation, to our nation. And it secures our ability to execute our state and our federal missions and to support our communities. This is just the beginning for us and for the Air National Guard. Over the next 9 months, we'll bring the remaining F-35s home here to Vermont. What an honor. And we are so proud that we were the first right here in Vermont. For 73 years, the Green Mountain Boys have built the foundation. We've done the groundwork. We will never forget our legacy, and we will never forget those who served before us. Our families and communities have been an integral part of our team and provide tremendous support. We cannot do this without you. To the airmen of the 158th Fighter Wing, congratulations and well done. You are an amazing group of professionals. Thank you so much for the work you do day in and day out. It's truly miraculous. It's because of you, and there's no doubt about it, it's because of you that we were ready for this. It's because of you that we are all gathered here today to celebrate this. You have blazed the path for the Air National Guard, and I am so proud to serve alongside you. Thank you for everything you do. None of us know what the future will hold, except for this. The 158th Fighter Wing will be ready. We will be ready with the F-35 to do what our nation calls upon us to do, and we will do it really, really well. And future Green Mountain Boys, they will do the same thing. I could not be more proud as we move forward together and write the next chapter of our history. What an amazing day today is. It's incredible. I can't thank you enough for being a part of it today. I hope you can stay and enjoy spending time with our airmen. I look forward to shaking your hand. I look forward to social time and fellowship with everyone here. There's great food. But the most important thing I would ask is if you can spend time with our airmen, and they're excited to tell you their story. So thank you very much. It's been my pleasure spending a little bit of time with you this morning, and I could not be more proud of standing here at this very moment, celebrating this, I don't even know what words to put on, this occasion, this historic event with all of you. So thank you very much.
Chaplain Wilson Treffs will now offer the benediction.
Well, good afternoon. For all those who are comfortable and able, I would invite you to please stand and join me in a prayer of blessing. Heavenly Father, we stand here today privileged to be Green Mountain Boys, warriors called to defend holy values such as freedom and justice. We pray you would utilize us as your instruments, delivering your will and defending your values, using the F-35 as the avenue for this mission's success. We humbly ask for your blessing over this aircraft, placing your hand of protection, swiftness, and precision over all those who fly it, maintain it, and support it in its various functions. We pray these things in your holy name. Amen.
This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you very much for joining us.